Greetings and salutations, humans. Welcome to the channel. This is your host, Putinbot. I just want to thank you for stopping by and taking a look at this video today. The video I'm going to be doing today is going to be about an epic champion, so it is definitely accessible for the majority of people who are out there. And the champion I'm going to be talking to you about today is Vergis. Now, one of the things I'm sure some of y'all have heard about him is that he is a solo artist when it comes to the Scarab King in the Doom Tower. That being said, Vergis brings a lot more to the table than just be able to solo one boss in the Doom Tower. Today, I'm going to show you how Vergis can keep your team alive. I'm going to show you how he is able to provide fantastic support for your teams. And I am going to show you how to build it. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So as you can see, this is my Vergis here. I'm going to go into his kit real quick. I'm going to explain to you how it works. And then I'm going to show you how I have mine built. And then we're going to do some runs. And I'm going to see if I can make a believer out of you, or if you think I'm out to lunch and that this guy's trash. In my opinion, he is far, far from trash. Let's first go into his kit. One of the things I want to point out to you is that he only needs 7 epic books to fully build out, which is a godsend. I was lucky. I got Vergis very early on in my raid career. He was maybe the 2nd or 3rd epic that I pulled, and I ran him everywhere. I used him in the arena. He was the key to my progression through a lot of different dungeons. And I still lean on them today, even though I have a handful of really good legendaries. I still go back to Vergis from time to time just to help me in content where I have a hard time just kind of keeping my team alive, or whenever I just need just a little bit of extra oomph. So let me kind of go in and show you how it works. So first, let's look at his A1. Pierce attacks one enemy, has a 40% chance of placing a 30% reflect damage buff on a random ally for 2 turns. That buffs up to 50% chance. Reflect damage, whenever we do it, is kind of weak sauce. If you're going against an enemy, though, that has a reflect damage buff, it really hurts. That said, it's better than nothing. With him, though, his A2 is fantastic. 2 things about the A2. And I will show you this once we go into the run. It's on 3 turns, has a cooldown whenever you book it. Aegis places a 15% continuous heal buff, a 30% increased speed buff, and a 30% reflect damage buff on a target ally for 3 turns. Also places a 50% ally protection buff on all allies except this champion for 2 turns. Places a 60% increased defense buff on this champion for 2 turns. This all is really good because Vergis is a defensive based champion. That means it's easy to keep this guy alive. Now let's go into his passive. Second Wind. When you book it, it goes down to a 1-turn cooldown. That means it is always up. Places a shield buff on this champion equal to 10% of their max HP for 2 turns whenever this champion loses 10% or more of their max HP from a single hit. Active effect. Places a 15% continuous heal buff on this champion for 2 turns every time their HP drops below 50%. And as you can see, the books drop it down. And then we'll just kind of go into his aura. Increase ally defense in dungeons by 33%. That means this aura does not work in Clan Boss. It does not work in Doom Tower, but it works in all dungeons. I'm just going to kind of go back to this passive real quick. Because Vergis has an ally protect, his health is always going to be going down. That means this passive is almost always going to be up. Now, about the A2, as I said, I'm going to go into this. I'm going to show you his masteries, and I'm also going to show you the artifacts I have my Vergis in. Team placement matters. If you're running Vergis in the lead, I strongly recommend that you put your win condition in the 2nd spot in the team because that person, whoever's in that number 2 position, will be the one receiving this buff. Again, I will show this to you. If Vergis is not in the lead position, he will put this Aegis buff on whoever is in the lead. So say if you're running T-Rail in the lead in the dungeon group because his defense or high Katoon because you want some extra speed, whatever, whoever is in that number 1 spot is going to be the one receiving the buff. Now the masteries I've got Vergis on, I've got him going down the defense tree and I've got him going down offense. I recommend staying away from support. It's really not going to do anything for you. Nothing Vergis does has any use for accuracy at all. Accuracy is useless to him. I started off with tough skin. I went down to blast proof just to give me some extra defense against AoE attacks. Resurgent has a chance to remove a random debuff whenever this champion loses 25% of max HP or more from a single enemy skill. Again, because of that ally protect, that happens more than what you would think. So this definitely does help. Delayed death reduces the damage this champion receives from a specific enemy, and that damage reduction stacks up to 6% for each enemy. I've got him in Retribution, that way I have a chance of proccing a counterattack, and then I've got him in Deterrence, that way if someone on my team gets feared or frozen or what have you, I have a chance of just getting a free smack. And through the offense tree, I ended up going down to War Master. If you're going to be using your Vergis in PvE content, which personally is where I use them pretty much exclusively now, War Master, if you want to get any damage at all out of your Vergis, is the way to go. I also took Life Drinker because, again, Vergis is going to be soaking up a lot of this damage. And so once you drop below 50% health, your second wind passive is going to proc. You're going to get that continuous heal buff. Plus, if we slap someone, in addition to getting the heal from that continuous heal, he's also going to be getting a heal from this Life Drinker mastery. Now the sets that I've got my Vergis in, I have got them in 2 pieces of Immortal. Just that way I've got some self-healing going on, because I do use Vergis quite a bit in Doom Tower, and I've got them in a Destroy set. Destroy decreases enemy max HP by 40% of the damage that's dealt, and I use Vergis all the time against Scarab. I also use them against hit point based enemies in Doom Tower especially. Like for example, some of the secret rooms that you'll run into will have 2, sometimes even 3 Vergises. If you, in the secret rooms where you can only use a spirit-based team, well, that's no big deal, because as you decrease the max health pool of an enemy, heals mean less and less and less, to the point where they do absolutely no good at all. Now, as I said, Vergis is a defensive-based champion, so that means you have some options. Speed boots are going to be pretty much mandatory. You want your Vergis going quick. A defense chest is also very important. I've got mine in a crit rate gauntlet. Now, if you're able to get crit rate out of your other gear and you want to put him into crit damage, he can slap. He can slap pretty flippin' hard. I'll be completely honest with you. But I've got mine built into more of a support role. So I went with defensive rate. I went with crit rate gauntlets, mostly because of the speed roll that I've got on them. And again, I went with Immortal. I've got them in a resistance banner, and I'm running resistance on him because, like I said, I run him quite a bit in Doom Tower. And so a lot of times I'll run Rosin or someone else in the lead with a resist aura, just to give me a chance to resist debuffs. And then in turn, Vergis is going to use that Aegis ability on Rosin or whoever else I have in the lead, whether it's Contra or whoever, to get them running faster and also just give my team more sustain. I've got him in a hit point amulet, and the reason is, as you saw with this kit, health and defense are both important. The shield that he puts on himself with his passive goes off of 10% of his max HP. So you want to have a decent amount of health on Vergis for two reasons. One, you want a good sized shield. Second, a lot of enemies ignore defense. So if you're stacked with defense but you have no health, in addition to not having a shield, you just want to get one shot. You're going to fall over. And I've got him in a hit point ring with defense rolls on it. And without further ado, let's hop in. Let's take a look at some dungeons. And I will show y'all what he is able to do. And I will go over, again, what I mean about that placement when it comes to positioning champions in your team. Let's go into Dragon's Lair. Let's do Dragon Lair 20. So here's a team I've got put together. I've got Vergis in the lead because he's got that sweet defense aura. I've got Frozen Banshee in the number 2 position. The reason for that is Vergis is going to put an increased speed buff on Frozen Banshee, and he's also going to put a continuous heal buff on her just to help her go faster and also be able to just help keep her alive, because she's always going to have that continuous heal buff up, as you're going to see. I've got Thylicia as my defense down. I'm running Reliquary Tinder for res just in case I need it. And I've got Alika just for some raw DPS. Let's hop into it and I'll show y'all how this team works. And again, I'm just going to drop this down to 1x speed so you can see. There's the defense down. There's Aegis. As you can see, Vergis put those buffs on Frozen Banshee. She's got the speed buff up. She's got the continuous heal buff up. She's got reflect damage. And the entire team has ally protect. Here come the slaps. You can see we're not taking really any damage at all because of the ally protect that Vergis is putting on the team. And speaking of Vergis, as you can see, because of his skills, he has that reflect damage buff up on himself, and he also had that increased defense buff up on himself. And I'm just going to pop this on up to 2x speed. Going to kind of just fast forward through it. But y'all are seeing how this works. Vergis is just going in there. He's slapping. And keep in mind, he's weak affinity here. He's spirit. These champions are all magic. And it's not really making a difference. I mean, he's just chunking them, as you can see. And Frozen Banshee, she's not going down. She's got those 2 continuous heal buffs up on herself. Compliments of Reliquary and Vergis. I mean, you can see it for yourself. I'm just going to be quiet here, and I'm going to speed this up. And I hope you all enjoy the run. And we're back. Let's go ahead and sell this guy. And let's just kind of take a look here at the stats. So Vergis got in 141,174 in healing. That's off that continuous heal buff. And all that healing went off of Frozen Banshee. Reliquary Tinder with her AoE continuous heal buff came in at 332,000 health. Alika came in at 1.3 million damage. Thylicia came in at 856,000. Frozen Banshee barely squeaked out Alika. All of her damage came off of the boss at 1.4 million. And you can just see this, the synergy of this team, and it's accessible. As you can see, this team is accessible. I'm running 3 epics and 2 rares. Frozen Banshee and Reliquary Tinder. Granted, Reliquary is a void rare. That said, if you play the game for any length of time, you should be able to get one. If you don't, Any kind of a res champion will do. The point is that Vergis is able to keep everyone up. He was able to keep everyone alive. Now what we're going to do, let's hop over to a different dungeon here real quick. We're going to hop into Ice Golem 20. I'm going to put together a team and I'll be right back. So here's the team we're going to do for Ice Golem 20. We've got Vergis in the lead. We've got Doom Priest in the number 2 spot. Doom Priest, I want her to have that increased speed buff that Aegis is going to give, because I want her going as quick as I can make her go. Just that way she can help cleanse off the debuffs that the Ice Golem and the Ad's going to put on us. We've got Dark Elaine in here for DPS. I've got Tay-Rail for defense down and some turn meter control. And Scowl of the Drakes for some wave control, passive heals, and a res in case someone falls over. Let's just go on in and see how this team does. We have yet another accessible team. We've got Vergis, who is the point of this showcase. We've got Doom Priest, who's brought us in some passive healing. She also is able to remove those debuffs. Dark Elaine, who's a daily login reward. Scowl of the Drakes, who's a daily login reward. And the original gangster, Tay-Rail. Let's take a look at this. Goodbye, don't need it. We will go ahead and do one other dungeon here real quick. Let's just do a run through Fire Knight 20. Now, note about Fire Knight. Vergis is a one-hitter. So what that means is he is not going to be very good at helping you get through the shield, but what he is going to do is speed up your multi-hitter. He's also going to help you get through the waves, because these guys can hit really freaking hard. And if you're running an allure like I am, you know she's squishy. And so you need to be able to keep her up, and that is what Vergis is going to do. He's going to help you keep her alive. Let me put the team together, and I'll be right back. Here's the team we are going to try. I'm not running a Reser in this comp, so everything has to work just perfect, or things can get kind of dicey. So I'm running Apothecary for his multi-hitter and also for his heals. We've got Allure in the number 2 spot, just that way she has the continuous heal buffs and the Ally Protect from Vergis. Unfortunately, she'll probably end up tanking, but we'll see how that goes. We're running Thylicia. She has a stun set, and she is able to help with control. And we've got Cold Heart. So let's take a look and see how this team goes. And we're back. We had a little bit of a surprise there. The first wave, Thalysia was the one who was tanking instead of Allure. That was a bit of a surprise for me because both Allure and Apothecary are weak affinity. Thalysia is neutral. That being said, it didn't really matter. Vergis was there. He had that ally protect up. He was soaking up a lot of the damage. Apothecary came through, tossed her a heal when she needed it. The second wave, Apothecary took a slap or two, and that was really all that happened between the ally protect and then Thalysia laying down her stuns with the stun set, Allure with the turn meter, and Coldheart doing Coldheart things. This run was never in any jeopardy at all. The run itself took 2 minutes and 55 seconds. Let's take a look at this and we'll sell it. And I think we'll just go ahead and end the video here. I'll hop over and we'll do some final thoughts real quick on Vergis. As you can see, he does good work. If you are new to Raid and if you're lucky enough to pull Vergis, don't think he's only good for Doom Tower. That is not true. Nothing is further from the truth. If you're working your way through progression and if you need someone to help you keep your team alive, Vergis is your man. I mean, you just now saw it in 3 different dungeons, and all these teams I ran him in were very accessible. We're using a mix of epics and rares. I'm not running any, god tier legendaries on this team. He's really good, and the fact that he only takes 7 books to get all of the skills maxed out is huge. There are so many champions that need 12, 13, 14. Heck, Alika, for example, needs 20 books. Vergis is able to bring you survivability and just... I don't even know what the word is. He brings you survivability and he brings you sustain. And he's super easy to build, folks. Just get him going quick. You want to be able to cycle through his skills as fast as you possibly can. And the most important thing with him is just focus on speed, defense, hit points, and then placement. If you're not running him in the lead, whoever it is that you need him to support the most, put that person in the front. If you are running Vergis in the lead, put whoever it is that he needs to carry in that number 2 position, like you saw on the Dragon Run with Frozen Banshee. If you have Vergis, congratulations. He will carry you a very, very far way. I'm lucky enough to have pulled 2 more Vergises, and I'll be honest with you, I'm thinking about building them out too and just running 3 of them and seeing just what kind of mayhem 3 of this guy can do in the Doom Tower. And again, if you have Vergis, don't pay attention to the whales that have got these god tier void legendaries who just trivialize everything. If you have Vergis, build him, run him, love him, enjoy. If you like this video, if you would, please throw me a thumbs up, a share, and a subscribe always helps. I'll see y'all in the next one. Have a good one.